So let's go back to that experience with the lady. Let's look at her as a case study. Was she considered dramatic or anxious as they were talking to her about the death of her child? How did she react?
For me, she wasn't dramatic or anxious. It felt like the hospital was going through the motions and she was going through the motions, and there was no recognition that this was someone needed to care for this massive thing that had happened to her. It wasn't just about the baby, it was about her well-being, her mental health. It was about, what support is there around her to help her to deal with this situation. And it just seemed to me a very cold and distant way of dealing with someone that was also a long way from her home. She's in Liverpool. She wouldn't have had a family from Manchester. And I just remember listening to it through the curtain and thinking, that doesn't sound right to me.
Was she able to speak up and say things? She was able to speak up, which is a good thing, because a lot of people will just stay quiet and not complain and not challenge the system, or not say, I'm uncomfortable with that discussion.
Absolutely.
Because that's quite a very difficult thing to hear, that your child cannot make it. Sometimes women too might not even make it. And for them to be told those sort of things, they need family around. They need people around to hold their hands while they're delivering such information. And maybe she would have spoken up to say, I need my family around, or wait a sec, or something like that, or maybe somebody there to support. Or this woman was left to deal with this situation by herself on her own, which can be quite devastating. Also, let's just talk about the culture of being quiet and how this can delay care. A lot of women are quiet and it delays care. Can you talk a little bit about this?
I think, first of all, pregnancy is not a sickness, but pregnancy can make you sick. There are health conditions and things that happen to you a part of that, and some of those things are normal and to be expected, and some of them aren't. But even if they are normal and to be expected, if it's never happened to you before, or you don't know that it is a normal and expected thing, then I just think there is a shut up and just get on with it mentality around pregnancy. I can't complain about me midwives. I remember going into when you go and see the GP and that thing with the tape measure. And she kept doing the thing with the tape measure, and she kept saying to me, small for your dates. But they would never, there was nothing else. There was just, your bump's not very big. It was like, no one told me what was, if there was something I was supposed to do, or just things like that. So I think it's very easy for health professionals to frighten women. And I think that fear makes us go quiet, because when people were saying to me, it's just an example, but people saying you're small for your dates, I felt like my body was not doing what it should be doing.
Exactly. So if you feel like that makes you quiet and you don't want to talk more about what you're feeling.
I used to talk a lot. Obviously, I've got friends and family and people around me that I would talk to, but the health professionals, I found them quite scary. Really found them quite scary. And when I had my eldest, I went in to have my son. Have you ever had an epidural, Viv?
Yes, I have.
When they give you the epidural, everything starts to work, and I was lying in the operating theatre, and some fella, he was like, have you seen when they're testing you to see if an epidural works, and they poke you with something? I was poking me with something, and then I couldn't feel it, and then he just held it up and he went, I've just stuck that in your leg. But I think even though it was a bit weird, it was humorous, and I don't know, it just made it feel less intimidating. He had a sense of humour and he was less clinical than the others, and there's a place for that clinical stuff. It's really important. We've got to have that communication and those relationships as well.
Absolutely. And silence can lead to delays, like we say, and sometimes symptoms can worsen when things are not reported quickly and timely. It can lead to more devastating consequences. And it could also affect people emotionally during pregnancy and afterwards. So we're encouraging women, if you are having symptoms, we know that there's a culture of silence, and some people fear that, and sometimes people fear that they'll have to sit in the emergency waiting room for so long. I think that's another perspective. So people don't just want to complain, they don't want to talk. And like you said, Dr. Joe, that it's a natural thing. Pregnancy is a natural thing, and people just think, I'll just get on with it, just a pain, it'll be fine. But just encouraging women out there, speak up when you need
definitely, Viv.
And don't feel like people may tag you difficult, because it's better to be alive than being tagged difficult, or if the fear of being tagged difficult. It's better to be alive first before we think about what other people are thinking or people's assumptions.
There's certain cultural groups, Viv, that have more fear of being labelled as
difficult,
people that complain.
Absolutely, which I'm going to unfold on the podcast. I'm bringing other guests to talk about their culture. So I'd like everyone to key into the podcast. I'm bringing other people from the African migrants from different cultures to talk about their experiences. But yes, I agree with you, Joe. There are people that might feel reluctant to talk or to complain, or they are not expected to speak up or complain because of their race and their culture and all of that. They might feel intimidated by the system as well. So race and culture plays a lot of role part in how women react to the system.
Definitely. And I look at some of all of this will come out in your podcast and the different conversations that you're going to have with people. But even if you just think about when, us as professional women, I was working right up until just a couple of days before I had my kids. Probably you were in a similar situation. And I think there's no time to... We're not encouraged to slow down and just think about what our bodies are doing and take care of ourselves and prepare for this massive change, because we're just that. I think some cultures do that an awful lot better than what we do here in the UK, certainly in my experience. And after the birth as well, I've seen some women that have talked to me about the amazing things that go on in different parts of the world where women are cared for after the baby's been born. There was nothing like that. It was just like, fish the baby.
I'm glad you said that, because in my culture, once a woman gives birth, if I'm back home, I'm giving all the support. We have a period where we call the omugwo, where your mom will visit, different people visit, and they're expected to cook for you, clean for you, and serve you. And it was also a culture shock for me when I saw that people could have their babies here in England, in Britain, and the next day they're just walking around with a baby. For us, what I'm used to seeing, you see people have their babies and they're 3 months indoors. They don't go out. Sometimes 6 months, women are not allowed to go out like that. So it was a huge culture shock to see that people just get on with things. I had to just watch and look around me. And initially, when I had my own child, I sat for a while at home. I didn't want to go out because that was what I was used to. But when I saw other women carrying everything, getting on the train and being busy and getting on with their life, I thought I have to stop this now and start doing like the British people as well. Just get on.
I don't think any of us are liking it, Viv. I think we're just kind of conditioned to just behave in that way. And there's a real issue there. And I think a lot of women that maybe go on to struggle with postnatal depression or feeling very, which I did as well, and I've never really hidden it. I'm quite happy to talk about it. And a lot of it was just due to the fact that I think I was putting so much pressure on myself to just be this perfect, be up, be dressed, makeup would be on, the baby would be spotless, I'd be going out to do whatever it is I needed to be do. When in actual fact I didn't need to do any of that stuff. I should have been at home trying to get my body and my mind and get cared for, but unfortunately it's not the way that we do things here.
I think it's because of the fast culture. People need to work, people need to make ends meet. Nobody's going to just leave their jobs and come sit with you when they have their things to do. So that's just the society. People need to pay their bills and do all this stuff. So it becomes difficult for people to just support you and be there for you there.
So I think we've got a lot of learn. Certainly from my point of view, we've got a lot to learn from all the cultures in how they support families after before and after the birth of a baby, because this way it ain't good. Your way sounds much better, Viv.
Sorry?
Your way sounds much better.
Oh, no, I think you sound good as well. So finally, Dr. Joe, if a British woman is listening, or people in the United Kingdom, a lot of cultures have come here now, become British as well, and integrating with the system. You say to women, someone who doesn't want to be bothered, what will you say you like her to know about your silence and picking up? What will you give her permission to say? What should she not apologize for? And what do you wish someone had told you? A lot of questions, basically.
Thank you, Viv. I think women should, regardless of their culture or their faith or diversity amongst women is huge, regardless of where people identify or how people identify, people should be able to ask for support and be able to ask for help. I think women do a great job of supporting each other.
Yeah.
I think that is a really powerful thing, and if we can continue to do that and fight for women's rights, but women need to be able to advocate for themselves without feeling stigma or shame for doing that. So I think that's something that the NHS needs to take on. And it's something that we could do with you're doing with this podcast, Viv. It is raising awareness so that women are aware that what they're asking for is not anything exceptional. It's basic standard care. Every woman is different, and I think it's absolute that women are also not compared to other women, so that they can get what they need as individuals.
Absolutely.
And then, what was the last question, Viv?
What do you wish someone had told you?
Don't worry. No, that's not true, because all mums worry.
Yeah.
I wish someone had told me that you're going to feel a bit crap for quite a while, and that's okay. And you need to lean on people and know that it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have put myself through the midwife coming round to see me when I'd not long been discharged, and she said to me, "Why are you dressed?" And at the time, I thought, well, because I'm dressed. Isn't that what people are supposed to do? But it's only afterwards that I've come to realise that she was saying to me, "Why aren't you resting?" That was what all the kids to get to schools, and to get my other one up and down to his school when my little one came along. And it's easier said than done in a lot of cases, isn't it? But it's something that definitely we need to think about in more detail.
Okay. The questions again, because I just read all of them in a hurry. You give someone permission to say a pregnant woman?
What would you give her permission to think? Say whatever it was that she wanted. I think for some people, certainly it's been kind of my experience that to ask the questions. If you've got unanswered questions about anything to do with childbirth or looking after the baby or pregnancy or whatever it is, then there's an assumption, I think, that women know all of this stuff naturally, and that we're built to cope and we can do all these things. We can't always, and nor should we be expected to. There should be that support there, and there should be more opportunities, particularly for women, to go to their peers, to women that are important to them. The information in a way that is understandable for them, and be able to ask the questions that matter to them. A lot of it is very 20 years since I've had a go at this, Viv, but it seems to me it was all very tick boxy at the time. Maybe things have moved on now, and the diversity amongst people that give birth hopefully has been recognised.
People talk about maternal instinct a lot, so they just feel like women should have those instincts.
We know. Don't.
Should she not apologise for
anything? I think it's a good thing. An apology is needed if we do something that is wrong or unfair or cruel, or if we're doing something that intentionally harms someone else. We shouldn't do those things, but women shouldn't apologise for asking for information. Or I can remember pressing on the buzzer for ages trying to get someone to bring me a cardboard bowl to puke in. By the time she turned up, I'd already puked all over the bed. And then I apologised to, because you have to clean it all up. But some of the things that we're asking for, they're not massive things, Viv. It's information. The childbirth or becoming a parent, it's not just a massive physical change, it's a massive emotional. Everything that comes with that. So it's just the biological process is a big part of it, but it's all the rest that comes with it as well, and that's where the impact comes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jo.
You, Dr. Viv.
Delight having you, just sharing your story and giving your insight and just learning from your experience, and see how similar our experiences can be for many women out there also can learn from our experience. But in pregnancy, silence can be costly. If something doesn't feel right, you are allowed to speak up. You are allowed to ask again and again in case you've forgotten. You are allowed to take up space, and you're allowed to enjoy your pregnancy.
If you need to be noisy to get that baby out, be noisy, sister.
Absolutely. Thank you all for listening today. Hope you enjoyed our podcast. You key in and tune in to all the episodes, and we're going to be sharing so many cultures come in here and talk about their experiences. This is our Mother's Health podcast, and thank you all for watching, and bye-bye.